A few years ago, I had just finished a long run and I was heading back to my university dorm. I entered the lobby and I felt a wave of dizziness and nausea rush over me. My vision started to go blurry and I knew that I was about to pass out. All I could do was pray that I would make it up to my dorm room before I passed out on the floor, because I obviously didn't want to pass out in the lobby. Just as I unlocked my door, I fell to the floor of my room and everything spun around me. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't move. I was going in and out of consciousness. It was about 30 minutes before I could even sit up. I was obsessed with exercise. I would force myself to run mile after mile after mile. And at first it was freeing and it was a stress release and it was something that I loved to do. But before too long, it became a punishment. It became a punishment for the things that I ate. It became a compulsion. It was something that I had to do. I would be angry or guilty if I missed my time at the gym. I stopped going out. I stopped hanging out with my friends just so I would have time to go to the gym. I canceled plans if it meant that I was going to miss my workout time for the day. I ran when I was sick. I ran when I had a swollen foot. One time my foot was literally so swollen and painful that I would limp to class, and yet somehow I would force myself to go to the gym and run on this injured foot. I ran when my knees were very injured and hurting. I ran no matter what. I had to go work out. I had to go to the gym. I will probably have problems with my knees and feet for the rest of my life because of the damage that I caused from my overexercising. I am really thankful that I don't have that relationship with exercise right now. Here are some of the things that made the biggest difference for me as I changed my view of exercise. Number one is I took a break.
We were on a break.
I stopped running for a couple of months. I still went on walks. I still had other forms of movement in my life, but I took a break from running to allow my body to rest and recuperate, and also to change my mindset around exercise and running in general. Number two is I stopped timing my workouts. Rather than forcing myself to work out for 60 minutes or whatever the number was, I would listen to my body and I would work out based on my energy level and how I was feeling at the time. Number three is I stopped tracking calories burned. This probably made the biggest difference for me in fixing my relationship with exercise, but it was also one of the hardest things to do. I used to work out to burn a certain number of calories. I would push myself to go a little longer, run a little further just to reach a number of calories that I wanted to burn. Now I don't track the calories that I burn. I don't use equipment that will tell me how many calories I am burning, or if I am using that equipment, I'll just cover that information with a jacket. I also don't use apps that track calories. I don't have a Fitbit or anything that is going to tell me how many calories I'm burning, because that for me was extremely triggering. Along those same lines, number four is I stopped tracking how far I was running. So I stopped tracking how many miles I would go. That number gets in your head and I would think to myself, just one more mile, just one more mile. And I would stop listening to my body just to reach a certain goal. Honestly, anything that had to do with numbers or distance or any really specific numerical goals like calories burned, miles run, time working out, I just stopped tracking all of that. Number five is I tried different forms of exercise. When I was over-exercising, I really just ran. I did do other things, but the primary form of exercise for me was running. And when I was trying to fix my relationship with exercise, I started doing other things. I started going on long walks, I started dancing, I started stretching and doing yoga, I started boxing. I started doing a lot of other things that I found that I really enjoyed and weren't as triggering to me as running was. Now, one of my favorite forms of exercise is actually just going for a really long walk, and I love that. I did start incorporating running back into my life over time, but it is certainly not something that I do exclusively or compulsively now. Number six is I took a break from my strict schedule and I started to go with the flow. So I had a very strict schedule in my life, and specifically around eating and exercise. I had to go to the gym at a certain time, I had to stay there for a certain time, and it really didn't matter how I was feeling or what else was going on in my day. day I had to go to the gym and I had to work out or run for this amount of time. And now I try to be very cognizant of my energy levels, my feelings, my emotions at the time, and I allow my schedule to be flexible. So now I'll exercise or I'll move my body at all times of the day, depending on how I'm feeling. And some days I just don't do anything because some days I'm sick or I'm tired and I just need a day to rest, and that's totally okay. Number 7 is I changed my goals to focus more on how I feel versus how I look. For a long time, exercise for me was about weight loss and it was about looking a certain way. And now exercise to me is so much more about how I feel. It's about what makes me happy and what makes me feel strong, and not trying to get to a certain number or a certain aesthetic. This did not happen overnight. It took a long time to kind of change that mindset, and I'll be honest, I'm not 100% there, but I'm definitely getting closer to that goal. Number 8 goes along with this a little bit, and that's I stopped weighing myself. So to help with the process of focusing more on my feelings and emotions and energy levels versus aesthetics, I had to stop weighing myself. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that this has been a bit of a struggle, and I've definitely not been 100%. There are times that I still weigh myself. I try not to, but I used to weigh myself every single day or multiple times a day. That really pushed me into that mindset of it's all about aesthetics, it's all about looks, and I have to run more to lose more weight, etc., etc. Now I try not to weigh myself, and that has done so much for not only fixing my relationship with exercise, but fixing my relationship with food and my body, and shifting that focus to how I'm feeling rather than the way that I look. And last but not least is number 9. I made sure that I was eating and drinking after I worked out. For a while, I had it in my head that if I ate food after I worked out, I would somehow be counteracting all the progress that I had made in my workout. So I just stopped eating after I worked out. But that is crazy. You need to eat. You especially need to eat after you exercise. You need to replenish your body of nutrients, and you need to drink plenty of fluids. So now when I move, I make sure that I eat enough food. Even if I'm not feeling it in the moment, I still try to eat because your body needs to replenish those nutrients. I know that exercise can be a really hard and complicated subject for a lot of people, especially as we move into this new year of 2022. One of the most common resolutions that people make is to lose weight or work out more. And I felt like I needed to share this now, my exercise journey now, to help anyone, hopefully help anyone who has struggled with their relationship with exercise like I struggled with mine. Don't jump on the bandwagon of everyone who is getting a gym membership. You need to do what's best for you. And if that means throwing away your Fitbit or taking long walks instead of forcing yourself to run a bunch of miles every day, then please do that for yourself. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. Happy New Year. I am looking forward to everything that this new year brings, and I'm wishing you all the best in your recovery journeys. I love you guys. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video.